I arrived at the entrance of the Duke of Tang's manor and announced myself. I am Miss Shen Yun. A servant went in to report, then came out and chased me away. Where did this countrywoman come from, daring to impersonate someone? Get lost. Soon a carriage came out. The lady of the Duke of Tang's manor, the heir, and another young lady were travelling by carriage. Has Brother Tao's fiancé come to visit? Aunt, the young lady asked. What fiancé? The second Miss Shen is recuperating away from home. She has probably already died from illness. This is just an impostor. The heir's voice was lazy. Mother, let's hurry into the palace. The crown prince has found a witch doctor for the empress. The witch doctor is a woman. She comes from a poor, remote place and hasn't seen the world. If she really cures the empress, we should win her over first. I stood at the corner of the wall, watching the carriage depart in the distance, then quickly turned around. At the end of the street was a black lacquered flat-topped carriage, completely unremarkable. The curtain lifted, revealing a seated man who was handsome and noble. He nodded at me. Divine physician, please get in the carriage. I was invited back to the capital by the crown prince to treat the empress's illness. Originally, the crown prince went to invite my master. Me master was too old. The elderly cannot endure the hardship of travelling thousands of miles, so I came to the capital in her place, and also to deal with my marriage arrangement with the Changsun family of the Duke of Tang's manor. Did you see Lady Changsun? The crown prince asked me. I shook my head. They wouldn't let me in, said I was an impostor. The crown prince's face darkened slightly. What arrogance! It is fine entering the palace to visit Her Majesty. The Empress is what matters most. The Empress suffered from aphonia. Half a year ago, the Empress had a severe cold with high fever and intense coughing, and her voice became hoarse at the time. This was a common autumn-winter ailment, so neither the Empress nor the imperial physicians took it too seriously. Unexpectedly, the Empress lost her voice from then on. Her throat was hoarse, and later she completely lost the ability to make any sound. The Emperor was furious. 2 directors of the Imperial Medical Bureau were replaced, and they offered large rewards to seek physicians from among the common people, but still couldn't cure the Empress. Someone mentioned Granny Sang, the witch doctor from Nanzhao. Back then, the Shen general's household invited Granny Sang to treat the second miss. After the second miss recovered, she returned to her hometown with Granny Sang. The second miss had been ill for 2 years at that time, and Granny Sang cured her with a single talisman paper. Unfortunately, General Shen and his wife have both passed away, and the Shen family's eldest young master is at the border, so there is nowhere to inquire. The crown prince, being filial and benevolent, personally went to Nanzhao and found my master. Granny Sang. Me master was too old. She was unwilling to go to the capital. She said I had already mastered her medical skills and told me to go. The crown prince brought me back to the capital with some skepticism. I had seen the empress when I was young. After 6 years, she had hardly changed at all, still maintaining her breathtaking beauty. Only her complexion was slightly pale, and she looked quite weak. I stepped forward to pay my respects in the empress's palace. There were also several imperial physicians. When they heard I was the witch doctor from Nanzhao, they all stared at me nervously. They feared I wouldn't be capable and couldn't cure the empress, but feared even more that I would be capable and could cure the empress. Your Majesty, let me take your pulse. I said this after bowing. The empress had many things she wanted to say, but she couldn't speak them. She just smiled faintly and nodded. An imperial physician nearby said in a low voice, Witch doctors also take pulses. The so-called witch doctor is only because I am skilled in Juyu, not because I can communicate with yin and yang, I said. Imperial physician. After taking the pulse for a while, I stepped back and respectfully stated my diagnosis. Your Majesty's pulse is deep, slow, and weak, which is due to deficiency and sinking of vital qi. There is no need for Chu. You simply tonifying qi and raising yang will suffice. The imperial physicians were slightly stunned. The crown prince didn't understand. What does this mean? The lungs are the gate of voice and the kidneys are the root of voice. Vital qi exits through the throat, vibrating the vocal cords to produce sound. and this vital qi has its root in the kidneys and accumulates in the chest. Once this vital qi becomes deficient and sinks, at best the voice becomes weak, at worst one loses their voice entirely. I said the Crown Prince understood. Should we tonify kidney qi, not the lungs and throat? Yes, your highness is wise. Crown Prince, how do we treat it? I glanced at the imperial physicians. They made their living at the Imperial Medical Bureau and were on good terms with the powerful. If I came in and smashed their rice bowls right away, they would hate me to death. And having come to the capital, I had many matters to handle. There was no need to make enemies right from the start. Even if the Crown Prince and Empress backed me up, if I offended people and monopolized the credit, I would face difficulties everywhere when conducting business outside. So I asked the imperial physicians for the method of treating kidney qi deficiency and sinking. Do you gentlemen have any good strategies? Several people were startled. They mentioned several medical cases. Finally, the new head judge of the Imperial Medical Bureau said, use a heavy dose of simicifuga, then use the power of astragalus and buplorum to assist simicifuga's power of raising yang and lifting what has sunken. The other imperial physicians nodded one after another. This prescription is excellent. I also nodded. Head judge, good prescription. You all care too much about the Empress's condition and instead cannot see the forest for the trees. It shouldn't be like this. I criticized openly but praised secretly, and the imperial physicians all looked at me gratefully. The Crown Prince also looked at me deeply, and only after a long while said, then write up a prescription, he added. Divine physician, could you also write a prescription to help my mother recover soon? I'll draw a talisman as a supplement. I agreed. When I do good deeds, I can't push all the credit away either. Drawing talismans, Fortune, you requires the finest cinnabar. When forming the talisman, not a single stroke can break or be wrong. But it is not that easy. A useful talisman must draw upon the surrounding yin and yang energies. Anything that can draw upon these two energies is definitely not simple. I studied talismans for 5 years, and every time my brush would break off midway, until this year when I finally mastered it. After the Empress drank the medicine prescribed by the imperial physicians for 3 days, she could make faint sounds. The Emperor was overjoyed. The Empress was also so happy that tears streamed down her face. The Crown Prince then praised me. The divine physician's diagnosis was not wrong. Drinking the medicine was working, but the Empress had been ill for a long time. So the herbal decoctions took effect very slowly. For 7 days straight, the Empress could make some sound, but it was only faint sounds. The Emperor asked me, does the witch doctor have a talisman for the Empress? I answered yes. A dose of talisman charm dissolved in water after the Empress drank it. The next day her voice could be heard from 2 zhang away. The Emperor was overjoyed beyond expectation and wanted to open an altar to offer sacrifices to heaven, earth, and the ancestors. The Empress held my hand, so happy that tears welled up in her eyes. You truly are a divine physician. The Empress recovered. It was announced throughout the realm, and everyone marveled at it. The Emperor rewarded according to merit. What is your name? He asked. The Crown Prince said from the side. Father Emperor doesn't recognize her. She is General Shen's daughter. She used to come to the palace often to visit grandmother. My father, General Shen, died in battle 6 years ago, and my mother also passed away 6 years ago. The Emperor looked at me carefully. So you are the daughter of the Shen clan. No wonder you have such fine bearing, carrying General Shen's legacy. The Emperor asked me again what I wanted. Your Majesty, this commoner girl only wishes for favourable weather and for your Majesty and Her Majesty to be in good health, I said. This kind of grand but empty talk sounded very fake, but the Emperor was quite pleased with it. He could bestow rewards, but I couldn't ask for them. I confer upon you the title of Princess of Nanzhao, the Emperor said. You have been in Nanzhao, dealing with the Miao people, establishing friendly relations with the Miao borderlands for me. You have rendered meritorious service. I immediately kowtowed in gratitude. The Emperor gave such a great reward, of course not because I cured the Empress, but rather using this occasion to win over the power of my master's clan for his own use. My master's Nanzhao Shen clans, the Miao people. I am master's last disciple, the true heir of the witch doctor, now revered as the Saintess. In the future, I might even become the chieftain of the Miao territory at this time. Bestowing upon me the title of princess is an extremely profitable deal for the court. I'll be leaving the capital in 3 months. The emperor has graciously allowed me to stay temporarily at the imperial villa. Quite a few people have come to visit me. My people will arrive in the capital a step later. I really want to meet the Duke of Tang's wife face to face and dissolve the engagement between the heir and me. This marriage was arranged by my father when he was alive, with the Empress Dowager herself as matchmaker. After my father's death, the Duke of Tang's manor pressured us openly and covertly to break off the engagement themselves. They were unwilling to take the initiative to cancel it, fearing they'd offend the Empress Dowager and be charged with great disrespect. My mother was very stubborn. She cursed the Changsun family for looking down on people and refused to cancel it, deliberately disgusting them. These matters broke down my mother's health, and she passed away in grief and anger. My brother entrusted me to Master and went to guard the frontier. I also returned to Nanzhao with Master. 6 years have passed. The Empress Dowager has passed away, and the Changsun family neither seeks to marry nor cancels the engagement, just dragging it out like this. I am too lazy to drag it out with them and want to settle this matter. Since Lady Changsun has extended an invitation, I said to my head maid, "Go there for me first and give them advance notice. Tell them I've returned to the capital." Ruju acknowledged. Half a shikan later, Ruju came back, very angry. They wouldn't let me in. As soon as I mentioned the Shen family, they immediately had someone chase me away. "Why did you mention the Shen family? Couldn't you say you are the maid of the newly enfeoffed princess of Nanzhao?" "Ruju, I was just testing, miss. Who could have thought the Changsun family's threshold would be so high? It is infuriating." A fiancé repeatedly blocked outside the door. "The Duke of Tang's manor won't see me." I went myself, saying I was my own maid, and they still scolded her for impersonating. Only one reason, to humiliate me, forcing me to break off the engagement myself in a fit of anger. "The Changsun family is so shrewd," I said. "Before Big Brother left the capital, he still wanted to entrust me to Lady Changsun. Fortunately, I didn't go, otherwise I wouldn't have survived till now." Headmaid Ruju shuddered. "Miss barely escaped with her life. Forget it. I still have 3 months before leaving the capital. Let's take it slow," I said. The Yichang Marquis Manor held a banquet to host me. The Yichang Marquis's wife is the Empress's younger sister, and the prefect of Nanzhao Prefecture is the Yichang Marquis's 4th younger brother. Since I am about to return to Nanzhao, I need to establish this connection. So I went. The banquet was very lively. The Yichang Marquis's wife personally welcomed me, warm and generous, and had the young ladies take me to tour the back garden first. Many young ladies were admiring flowers in the back garden. "Is the witch doctor extraordinarily ugly or extraordinarily beautiful? How could His Majesty bestow upon her the title of princess? It is really too high an honor," several young ladies were discussing. One ran, "I heard your cousin's fiancé came to the door and was driven out," someone suddenly said. I stopped in my tracks. The young lady called Wanran was tall and graceful, like a lotus blooming elegantly pure and refined. "No, it was an impostor," Chao Wanran said. "Over the years, people have always been impersonating the second young lady of the Shen family to come to our door. This isn't the first time. Your marriage has been delayed because of this." Someone said, "Your cousin should marry you." Chao Wanran's face turned red. "Don't talk nonsense." Everyone started teasing. When the young lady of Marquis Yichang brought me forward and introduced me as the newly enfeoffed princess of Nanzhao, the young ladies all gathered around. When they saw me, they were all a bit surprised. "The princess has the beauty of a nation, truly a beauty." A young lady complimented me. I returned with a smile. "You are too kind." Chao Wanran looked at me. "Is this young lady from the Duke of Tang's manor?" I proactively asked. "Yes, Lady Jiangsun is my aunt," Chao Wanran said. "My aunt invited the princess, but the princess didn't honor her with your presence. My aunt was quite disappointed. I sent someone to reply to the invitation, but Lady Jiangsun wouldn't let my maid enter. It wasn't that I didn't honor her with my presence," I said. The young ladies immediately became excited. "Really, Lady Jiangsun actually wouldn't let the princess's people enter. Why? I shook my head. I don't know. Having hinted to this extent, Chao Wanren still didn't understand. Her face flushed red as she indignantly defended. Does the princess have some misunderstanding? My aunt is most hospitable. How could she block the princess's people outside the door? Who knows, perhaps she was afraid of impostors. I said. Miss of the Marquise of Yichang brought me to take my seat. A young lady whispered to her companion. Why does the Princess of Nanzhao speak with hidden meaning? I think so too. What does she mean by impostors? Could it be that the one who came calling wasn't Miss Shen, but the Princess of Nanzhao herself? But Chao Wanren still didn't catch on, remaining very angry. She felt I had smeared Madame Jiangsun's reputation. Before the banquet began, I encountered a young noble lady. She looked at me and came forward, grabbing my hands tightly. Shen Yun, is it you, Shen Yun? Chen Rong, you've actually grown taller and are no longer a little chubby dumpling, I said with a laugh. Chen Rong was the granddaughter of the left prime minister. A truly high-born noble lady. She was my childhood close friend. She hugged me, crying and laughing at the same time, and pulled me aside to talk. Have you come back to get married? Will you leave again? Chen Rong asked me. I shook my head. I came back to break off the engagement, not to get married. Chen Rong immediately said, I was afraid you'd be heartbroken, so I didn't dare tell you. Good that you are breaking it off. You don't know how disgusting the Jiangsun family is. Madame Jiangsun actually wanted to propose marriage to me. I was so angry I put her on the spot right then and there, asking if her family's heir's engagement could be voided. She left with a dark expression. I couldn't help but laugh. Chen Rong pressed close to me. It is so good that you are back. Hurry up and break off the engagement. That orphan girl raised by the Changsun family has already become a noble concubine. She thinks outsiders don't know about it. I wanted to meet with people from the Duke of Tang's manor, but I couldn't see them. I had no choice but to have my maid Ruju announce our identity, but we were still driven out. Miss, they recognized me. Last time I came and said I was Miss Shen's maid, they treated me like a fraud, Ruju said. I had no choice but to get off the carriage myself and go knock on the door. Very good. The servant boy remembered me too. Get lost, get lost. What kind of place do you think this is? Open your dog eyes and see clearly. This is the Duke of Tang's manor, the servant boy said viciously. I am the Princess of Nanzhao. Your lady invited me here. I even took out the invitation card. The servant boy didn't even look. And I am a prince then. Don't think people at the Duke's manor haven't seen the world. You are so young. Why don't you do something proper instead? I laughed in anger and had to return with Ruju. We've both been blacklisted, I said to Ruju with a smile. Whether or not they're from the Shen family. As long as there is any connection, the Duke's manor guards against us like guarding against thieves. This is too much, Ruju said angrily. When Madame was alive, she said that back then in front of the Empress Dowager, it was Lady Changsun who held your hand, insisting that you become her daughter-in-law. Lady Changsun was best at flattering the powerful and trampling the weak. Not being able to enter the Duke's manor wasn't my misfortune, but rather my fortune. Forget it, let's go back first, I said with a smile. Miss, why don't you just not break off the engagement? You are a scientess in Nanzhao, so you don't need to care about worldly status. Just drag it out and see if the Changsun family dares to marry anyone else. While they still have this engagement, who knows who'll get anxious first? Ruju said, childish talk. I laughed and said, there is no point in harming others without benefiting myself. My brother is about to go to the capital, where he'll become an official, start a family, and build his career. There is no need to get tangled up with the Changsun family. It would disgust my brother. Before my brother went to the frontier, he converted all the family assets into cash, gave me every penny of the silver, and solemnly entrusted me to master's care. Every military salary he received, he sent to me. He wrote me a letter every month, brief and hastily written. But his feelings came through. Once my brother returns to the capital, the Changsun family will definitely try to curry favor with him again. My brother would be furious. In a few days, I'll go to the Left Chancellor's manor and ask Chen Rong's mother to help as an intermediary, I said. Ruju sighed. That is all we can do, but I am so angry about this. Miss, the Changsun family's behavior is just too ugly. If your family really had fallen on hard times and you came to rely on them, imagine how badly you'd be bullied. Everything's fine, so why are you cursing me? I asked with a laugh rouge. Chen Rong came to my villa every day, taking me out to eat, drink, and have fun. She took me around to all the interesting places in the capital. When we were admiring peonies at Huiyang Tea House, we ran into Changsun Tao, the heir of the Duke of Tang's manor, and my fiancé. Changsun Tao was accompanied by household servants and a beautiful young woman, who was his cousin Chao Wanran. When Chao Wanran saw me, her expression changed slightly. Changsun Tao was stunned for a moment, his gaze showing a brief infatuation before quickly looking away, then turning toward Chen Rong. Chen Rong felt nauseous at the sight of him. To be fair, Changsun Tao was tall and slender with handsome features, a rare and imposing man. Unfortunately, those eyes were too mercenary, adding a slick quality to his young and handsome face. Miss Chen, long time no see. Changsun Tao greeted her, then looked at me. Who is this young lady? Chen Rong sneered. You don't recognize her? Changsun Tao looked at me again. His eyes showed satisfaction, along with a hint of inexplicable shyness. This is the first time I've seen this young lady. We had met several times as children. He hadn't changed much from his childhood self. I could still recognize him on the street. But when I was young, my health was poor and I was sallow and thin. Quite different from now. Only someone like Chen Rong, who constantly thought about me, could recognize me at a glance. What is it to you? Get lost, Chen Rong said coldly. Chao Wanran, usually aloof and indifferent, couldn't help but step forward. Miss Chen, why must you be so harsh? The Left Chancellor's household has strict family rules and good upbringing. Aren't you afraid of losing face? You are just a concubine. What right do you have to speak to me? Chen Rong asked. Chao Wanran's expression changed abruptly. Don't you dare insult me. You are not a concubine. You drank medicine to abort the child, wasn't it your cousin's? Chen Rong continued to ask. Chao Wanran and Changsun Tao both turned pale. This is so satisfying. Chao Wanran has clearly become Changsun Tao's noble concubine, yet she still dares to act innocent outside and covet her cousin's marriage engagement. Does she really think everyone's a fool? Only Chen Rong dares to expose their filthy affairs so bluntly like this kind of straightforward verbal attack, not beating around the bush at all. Chen Rong hates evil like an enemy. Playing the villain for me, Changsun Tao and Chao Wanran walked away. Not daring to invite more scolding, they found a corner to sit down. Coming to Huiyang Tea House this time, they had a purpose. They weren't just here to hang out. A moment later, a middle-aged woman entered. The woman was dressed modestly with gentle features and walked to the table where Changsun Tao and Chao Wanran sat. The tables in the tea house were all separated by flower stands, each stand filled with peonies. Admiring flowers while drinking tea was also a form of socializing. This was the most fashionable thing in the capital. Chen Rong and I happened to be separated from Changsun Tao and Chao Wanran by just one flower stand. The white peonies were richly fragrant, their petals trembling, and the conversation from the other side reached our ears clearly. Miss Chao, I can only make an exception to teach you one needlework technique, only because you got Mrs. Song to speak on your behalf. Am I giving this face? The middle-aged woman's words were gentle yet quite helpless. Chao Wanran was on the verge of tears. Lady Sheng, I really want to be your disciple. I can endure hardship. I can do anything. Chen Rong was surprised and glanced over there. She whispered to me, the world-renowned embroiderer Lady Sheng, the Empress loves her embroidery work the most. No wonder, she pursed her lips again. If Chao Wanran becomes her disciple, her value will skyrocket. It is not that Lady Sheng's embroidery is so extraordinary, but rather that her connection is the Empress. That is what Chao Wanran and the Duke of Tang's manor care about. Chen Rong said again, I am going to stir things up. I held down her hand. Don't, Lady Sheng hasn't agreed. If you go, you might end up helping someone else instead. Chen Rong immediately suppressed her impatience. They're putting on a show over there. We're watching the show over here. Chao Wanran probably needs a status to climb the social ladder. By the end, even Changsun Tao was getting a bit annoyed. Lady Sheng, showing convenience to others is showing convenience to yourself. My cousin is a young miss of the Duke's manor. Is she not worthy of being your disciple? Changsun Tao said. Lady Sheng. With those words out, the negotiation had basically collapsed. Lady Sheng. Please forgive me, young master. It is not that Miss Chow doesn't work hard, but that she has no talent. She also threw down harsh words. Chow Wanren was so angry she cried, sobbing quietly. Lady Sheng got up to take her leave. Chen Rong really couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. Chow Wanran immediately looked over, her gaze venomous. Lady Sheng also turned her face. After a moment of surprise, she was overjoyed and walked over to our side, disregarding etiquette. She curtsied. Divine Physician, when did you arrive in the capital? I hurriedly helped her up. Lady Sheng, you are too kind. I came to the capital this time to treat the Empress. Last time I also told the Empress to go to Nanzhao to seek medical help. If it weren't for you, my eyes would have gone blind. Lady Sheng smiled and said, Divine Physician, come to my home for a simple meal. Her vision was becoming increasingly blurred. Someone made connections for her to seek medical help in Nanzhao, and she found my master. My master had me take action, and I cured her. She was profusely grateful. Seeing this, Changsun Tao and Chow Wanran were both stunned. In front of them, Lady Sheng was neither humble nor arrogant, cold and indifferent, but before me, her expression was excited, and her words humble like two different people. Seeing this, Chen Rong asked Lady Sheng, would you be willing to take the Divine Physician as your disciple and teach her embroidery? Lady Sheng. Of course I would. I'd be willing to teach everything I know. I am just afraid the Divine Physician wouldn't think much of it. Miss Chen is joking with you. I don't have that talent. Chen Rong looked at Chow Wanren and Changsun Tao again. Taking on a disciple isn't that difficult after all. Chow Wanren and Changsun Tao's expressions changed dramatically. I nudged Chen Rong, telling her to stop being provocative and attracting enmity for Lady Sheng. I'll go out with Lady Sheng first to catch up. Chen Rong come later. Rarely was she not glaring angrily. Instead, she asked with a beaming smile, Changsun Tao, do you know who that Divine Physician was just now? Changsun Tao was displeased. Of course I know, the newly enfeoffed princess of Nanzhao, disciple of the witch Dr. Shen Shi. Chen Rong burst out laughing, completely unlike a refined young lady. Changsun Tao, you are really something. Perhaps you'll soon find out who she is. Chen Rong was genuinely standing up for justice. Seeing Changsun Tao madly smitten with his own fiancé, yet not knowing that she was the very Shen Yun whom his family despised, and drove out back then, and still happily saying he wanted to marry the princess of Nanzhao, please. That is the same person. After bidding farewell to Lady Sheng, I went to visit the left Chancellor's residence. The Chen family really liked me. Chen Rong's younger brother was 15, 2 years younger than me. Upon seeing me, he asked, Sister Shen, you didn't die from illness. Chen Rong. This dummy was picked up, not born to us. I laughed on the side. Chen Rong's mother was wise and gentle. I sought her help, hoping she would go to the Duke's residence on my behalf, to help arrange for me to meet the Duke's wife. Can't tell Changsun Tao, his gaze is vulgar, and seeing a Yun, he can't take his eyes off her. If he knew his fiancée was so beautiful and newly enfeoffed as a princess, he'd absolutely refuse to let go. Chen Rong said. I also said, right now, I can't enter the Duke's residence. I suddenly realized that if the Duke's wife knew I had been granted the title of princess, she might not smoothly let me break off the engagement. The Changsun family's faces, even one more glance would give me nightmares. After hearing about my predicament, Madame Chen pondered for a moment. How about this? I'll think of a way. Chen Rong. Mother. What way are you thinking of? You don't need to worry about it. Madame Chen said with a smile. The next day, the storytellers at tea houses and restaurants suddenly mentioned my elder brother, saying he had lost a battle and the court was going to hold him accountable. My elder brother, who had no news for several years, now had such rumors the Duke's manor would soon find out. It was the people who went out shopping who returned and told their masters. Duke Tang was chanting Buddhist scriptures, cultivating himself in a temple, and the household was managed by his wife. Madame Changsun soon heard about this matter and sent people out to inquire. As a result, everyone who returned said the matter was true. We must break off the engagement quickly. Don't let them drag us down. When the wall falls, everyone pushes at this time. Everyone is cursing Shen Zhan, so no one will talk about us breaking off the engagement. Madame Changsun said. Changsun Tao agreed. He said to Madame Changsun, "Mother, I want to marry the newly enfeoffed princess of Nanzhao. She is truly a beauty. Your son fell for her at first sight." Madame Changsun wasn't opposed to this, but said, "After the Empress Dowager's passing, the Empress and our family aren't close. I have no way to seek the marriage for you. Mother, your son can win her heart, as long as she agrees. This matter can succeed." Changsun Tao said. Their mother and son's conversation didn't avoid Chao Wanren. Chao Wanren ground her silver teeth to pieces. Changsun Tao broke off the engagement. They took the original marriage contract and went to the government office to dissolve the engagement. For the woman's side to break off an engagement requires the man's consent. For the man's side to break it off, they only need to make a trip to the government office and get a seal stamped. Very simple. The world is just that unfair. When I heard about this, I let out a heavy sigh of relief. Me maid Ruju was still very angry. The Changsun family didn't even approach anyone from the Shen family. You even have a maternal uncle in the capital. This household is bullying people too much. It is too excessive. I only wanted to solve the problem and didn't feel humiliated, because I truly didn't care. Ruju, however, was furious. But very soon, Ruju became even more furious. To make breaking off the engagement seem reasonable, the Changsun family didn't want others to say they were social climbers who stepped on those beneath them, and even less did they want to bear the burden of Greek disrespect toward the late Empress Dowager, so they actually spread bad rumors about me everywhere. Lady Changsun said, "Miss Shen is gravely ill." Half her face melted away, leaving only half a face. She sent someone to say she was willing to break off the engagement. I was originally reluctant and willing to take her in. She felt ashamed of her appearance and returned to her hometown. Alas, truly pitiful. The fact that the newly enfeoffed princess of Nanzhao is Shen Yun. Aside from the imperial family, not many people knew about this. The Chen family had just spread word that my brother might have been defeated in battle and would be brought back to the capital for execution. And then the Changsun family said I was disfigured. Everyone sighed with pity. General Shen killed too heavily and suffered karmic retribution. My maid Ruju was so angry she wished she could rush to the Changsun family and beat someone up. I was also a bit annoyed. The Changsun clan had already taken advantage, yet they still wanted to step on me again. Just then, the crown prince arrived at the villa. He scrutinized me. After paying my respects, I looked back at him. "Your Highness, is there something wrong with me?" "Which half of your face is ruined?" "I can't tell. Could it be that I've gone blind?" he said teasingly. "Me, Shen Yun. Yes, you have a very captivating face," he said. "Even if half of it were ruined, it would still be stunning enough to amaze the world." I smiled quietly. "Thank you, Your Highness. You are very good at comforting people." "I only want to comfort you," he said. When news that my elder brother Shen Zhan had broken through the Northern Rong royal court and slain the Northern Rong Chanyu reached the capital, it once again stirred up tremendous waves. Who was it that said young General Shen was defeated and escorted back to the capital for execution? Those few storytellers had originally been arranged by the Chen family, and now they had quietly disappeared without a trace. Public opinion drastically changed. The Duke of Tang's household, upon hearing that young General Shen was defeated, immediately broke off the engagement with his younger sister. They're probably regretting it bitterly now. So snobbish. No wonder the Duke's household has declined so severely. Quite a few aristocratic families have stopped associating with the Changsun clan. People discussed my elder brother while mocking the Changsun clan. The Duke of Tang's household was indeed shrouded in gloom. Lady Changsun was so angry she could barely breathe. Chao Wanran tried to persuade her, only to be slapped twice across the face. When the engagement was broken off, you were also there fanning the flames. Lady Changsun blamed her niece. Changsun Tao's face turned iron blue with anger. We've become a laughing stock, he said through gritted teeth. Lady Changsun, if you can win over the Princess of Nanzhao, we can still salvage our reputation. Changsun Tao requested an audience outside the villa. I couldn't be bothered to deal with him and had someone send him away. He didn't leave. When I went out, he blocked me at the door and respectfully bowed to me. Princess, I have a few words I'd like to say to you. I lifted the carriage curtain. The amazement in his eyes was always so sleazy, not clean like the Crown Prince's or Chen Rong's brothers. I suppressed my emotions. Does the heir have business with me? Princess, my mother would like to invite you as a guest. He had a set of very neat teeth, and his smile was particularly charming. Those sleazy eyes, paired with his smile, also appeared romantic and amorous. A man with good looks but terrible character, a person who has nothing to do with me. I am not familiar with your household, so I won't impose. I said. Changsun Tao grabbed the carriage. Princess, could we talk privately? I have a few things I'd like to say. But I don't have time, young general. Shen is entering the capital today to present prisoners at Nanyang Gate, and I want to go watch the excitement, I said. Changsun Tao's expression changed slightly, having been hit where it hurt. There is nothing to see. The princess may not know how despicable the Shen family is. The Shens were originally servants. When the late emperor was crown prince, the Shens washed horses for him. After the late emperor ascended the throne, he remembered old times and promoted the Shens. Hearing this, I got off the carriage and slapped Changsun Tao hard across the face. Changsun Tao was stunned by the blow. Starting from old General Shen, 7 men of the Shen family died in battle on the frontier. Your glory and comfort are thanks to the Shen family's contributions. I said, my grandfather, my father, and 6 brothers all died at the border. Now my elder brother also risks his life in battle. Me grandfather wasn't born into high status, but his military merits were earned at knife point, not bestowed by the late emperor. You can humiliate me, but you cannot humiliate my ancestors. After a long while, I finally calmed my anger and went outside Nanhua Gate. Me brother rode on a tall horse, imposing and majestic. His skin was dark, weathered by the harsh winds of the northern frontier. Once he pinched my cheek. Shen Yun, I am fairer than you. Once he fought roosters and raced horses, always mischievous, constantly buying me novel little trinkets from the marketplace. Once he absolutely refused to practice martial arts and didn't want to join the military. He loved wearing a crimson robe and was the most dashing young man by Wuling Bridge. Father died in battle. Grandfather's last son died. My brother is the only man left in the Shen family. He took off his fine clothes, put on armor, and followed father's subordinates to the bitter cold northern frontier. 6 years had passed, and the wind and frost had forged a sharp sword. He had shed his handsome looks, becoming dark, sharp, and indestructible. I looked at him and smiled. He seemed to see me, but his eyes remained straight ahead, yet a hint of a smile appeared at the corner of his lips. Young General Shen's return to the capital caused quite a stir. The Empress held a banquet, inviting all the noble families of the capital to the palace. I heard the Empress wants to arrange a match for young General Shen. By the Empress's decree, unmarried daughters of noble families may attend the banquet. Those without unmarried daughters may bring 1 or 2 daughters of relatives. It is not just to arrange a marriage for young General Shen, but also to select a consort for the crown prince. Right? The Empress is also celebrating her recovery, which is why she is holding such a grand event. The Duke of Tang's residence was also invited. Lady Changsun brought Chao Wanran and Changsun Tao to the banquet. Chao Wanran was dressed up brand new. Lady Changsun frowned. What are you doing? Chao Wanran also tore off the pretense. Aunt, I know you and cousin both look down on me. If I have a chance to climb up the social ladder, it will only benefit you and cousin. Lady Changsun looked at her, pondering for a long while. You do have some beauty. Changsun Tao was listless. He had slept with this cousin for several years and was long tired of her emotionally. If she could attach herself to young General Shen or the Crown Prince, it might be more beneficial to his own future. She couldn't possibly become a legitimate wife anyway, Being a concubine would be fine too. He said nothing. Chao Wanran straightened her collar. She can definitely seize the opportunity tonight. She is more beautiful than most noble ladies. Except for that Nanzhao princess. Changsun Tao was still a bit dejected. He got slapped out of nowhere and didn't even know what he did wrong. The Empress's banquet was extremely lively, with over 200 small tables arranged from the entrance to inside the Great Hall. The Duke of Tang's estate had a position slightly toward the front and center after all. They were a family of meritorious service. Changsun Tao searched through the crowd. The Chen family was at the very front. Chen Rong, dressed in luxurious attire, sat quietly beside her parents. That Nanzhao princess, was she invited? Chao Wanran asked. Why isn't she here? Changsun Tao also looked around but couldn't find her. When the banquet began, I finally appeared, taking the most forward position, the third seat to the Empress's right. After I sat down, the crowd quieted down, then came whispered discussions. Probably because I had just cured the Empress, my merit was high and my prestige at its peak, which earned me such an honor. A moment later, young General Shen also came in. He had changed into everyday clothes, an ordinary sapphire blue Jiduo robe. He sat in the seat next to me. When the Crown Prince entered, everyone stood up to pay respects. The formal banquet began as the Emperor and Empress appeared together, and the entire hall knelt in salute. Everyone was shocked. The Emperor had also come to the Empress's banquet. Rise. Only then did everyone take their seats again. I noticed many people looking at Shen Zhan, but one person kept glancing at me from time to time. I looked over. It was Changsun Dao. His gaze was complex, as if puzzled, yet also infatuated. They won't bestow the Princess of Nanzhao in marriage to young General Shen, will they? It is very likely she'll be bestowed in marriage to the Crown Prince. Amidst the buzzing discussions, the Empress began to speak. Her toast was simple, congratulating young General Shen on his great victory over the Northern Rong, winning 20 years of peace on the northern border for the court. The Emperor also spoke. The Shen clan has guarded the northern border for 3 generations, with 7 generals buried in that bitter cold land. Shen Zhan has gone even further than his forebears' achievements. I hereby enfoff Shen Zhan as the Prince of Zhenbei, with hereditary succession for 3 generations. The Emperor said. Shen Zhan immediately stood up and kowtowed in gratitude. He was the second prince of different surname in this dynasty. This wasn't a reward for Shen Zhan alone, but for the entire Shen clan. My eyes stung terribly. The Empress continued with a smile. This palace shall play matchmaker, left chancellor. How about marrying your granddaughter to the Prince of Zhenbei? Chen Rong was both shocked and shy for a moment, quietly blushing as her grandfather immediately stepped forward to kneel and kowtow in gratitude. He also looked at her. Chen Rong was extremely bashful, yet couldn't help wanting to laugh, her mood soaring as she tried hard to hold it in. I turned my face away, suppressing my smile and the moisture at the corners of my eyes. My dear friend, she was going to become my sister-in-law. The Empress finally said, Young General Shen's younger sister, the Princess of Nanzhao, cured this palace's throat and has rendered another great service. As soon as these words were spoken, the banquet erupted, everyone unable to hold back their exclamations. The Changsun family's party of 3 were struck, as if by lightning, each one frozen in their seats, stiff as statues. The banquet was quite spectacular. Not long ago, the Changsun family broke off the engagement, spreading rumors everywhere that I had ruined half my face. Now I sat in the seat right below the Empress, smiling serenely, as I watched everyone. Everyone's expression as they watched this spectacle was quite subtle. Madam Changsun, your family's been having bad luck lately. The sister of the prince of different surname. The new princess. His Majesty just granted a title to you, went and broke off the engagement with her. Oh, my noblewoman expressed great regret. Her words and gestures were exceptionally cutting. Someone laughed quietly. Madame Changsun's face was white as paper, her lips trembling slightly as she looked toward me again. She seemed to have recognized me. I still had some trace of my childhood appearance. Beside her, my cousin Chao Wanran had her fingers clenched tight, her expression gloomy. I knew she was terrified. She must have been the one who instigated the Changsun family to break off the engagement. And Changsun Tao, his expression was even more priceless. The Empress beckoned me over and asked in a low voice, "Why did the Changsun family break off the engagement?" According to rumors outside, my brother was defeated in battle and escorted back to the capital as a prisoner. Who knows who started that lie? The Changsun family wanted to protect themselves. It is understandable, Your Majesty, I said. The Empress let out a cold laugh. Such a flighty family background is not a good match. Your Majesty speaks truly. The Empress affectionately patted my hand when the palace banquet ended and they walked out of the palace gates. Several young masters from aristocratic families were still mocking Changsun Tao along the way. With such a beautiful fiancé who is also favored by the Empress, to just cast her aside like that, Brother Changsun. What bold character you have. Brother Changsun, you probably think the Shen family can never rise again. Right, people should be more kind-hearted back then. It was your family who fawned over this marriage match. Everyone chimed in, scolding Changsun Tao and his mother until their faces turned pale with shame. I said nothing and returned home with my brother first. My elder brother is staying at my villa for the time being. Brother and sister reunited after 6 years without any estrangement. I had been corresponding with him all along, as if I had accompanied him through these 6 years. Big brother, I will soon return to Nanjiao. I promised my master that I would serve as the Saint Maiden in Nanjiao for the rest of my life. I said, brother said, a woman of the Shen family keeps her word. When I have free time, I'll often come visit you. Bring sister-in-law and my nephews and nieces along. I teased him. His face showed slight awkwardness, and he smiled foolishly, saying to me, "Little Arong used to be chubby. Now you've grown so much I barely recognize you. You should be secretly delighted. There is no better in-law family than the Chen clan, and no better wife than Arong." I said, "Brother, why secretly delighted? I am openly delighted too." We both burst out laughing. The old Shen family residence was cleaned again, and the courtyard was repainted with fresh plaster. Brother brought his 50 personal guards, and together with me we moved back home. I would stay for only a month and a half before leaving the capital. Lady Changsun brought Changsun Tao to visit. "Tell them to get lost," my elder brother said. My maid Ruju had already told my elder brother about how I was turned away at the Duke of Tang's residence. My elder brother had also heard about me being rejected from the engagement and having dirt thrown at me. He was furious. "General, the heir of the Duke of Tang's residence is kneeling at the door." The deputy general came in to report. My elder brother drew his sword. I stopped him. "Big brother, no need to get angry. We siblings are now riding high with flowers, adorning our brocade and oil boiling in flames. In all matters, we must restrain our temper for the moment and earn a good reputation." I said. I had someone let the Changsun mother and son in. As soon as Lady Changsun saw me, tears fell like broken strings of pearls. While crying, she could still speak clearly. She held my hand. "Ah, Yoon, your aunt didn't know how much you've suffered all these years. My son and I were misled by treacherous servants, which is why you were blocked outside." I didn't buy her act and asked with a smile, "Auntie, which treacherous servant forced you to break off the engagement?" "Breaking the engagement is understandable after all, the Shen family has fallen. But why kick us when we're down and slander me on top of that?" Lady Changsun choked. Changsun Tao stood to the side. He finally understood why I hit him that day. He was too laughable, wanting to curry favor with the Princess of Nanjiao, yet cursing my ancestors to my face. If I were him, I wouldn't dare stand before me for the rest of my life. The Changsun mother and son's shamelessness is beyond what ordinary people can match. If I were just an inner household woman who actually married into the Changsun family, I'd be devoured without even bones left to spit out. "Madam young master, what brings you to my door today? Could it be you are seeking forgiveness? Wanting to let bygones be bygones?" I asked Changsun Tao. "Yes, Ayun, we can renew our old engagement." "That won't be necessary. A despicable villain should not easily step through my family's grand threshold," I said. I petitioned the emperor to stay in the capital for another 2 months. My elder brother and Chen Rong were about to be married, Elder brother was getting old, and Chen Rong wasn't young either. The Chen family said the Shen family line was thin and didn't want to delay, wanting Chen Rong to marry over soon to continue the Shen family line. Chen Rong's younger brother Chen Mao kept coming to our house these days, sending things from time to time. The crown prince came to my door twice and spoke a few words with me. Elder brother asked me, whether it is the crown prince or Chen Mao, I have no interest in either. I told elder brother, both are pretty good. One is the heir to the court, one is the heir to his family. Neither can abandon their family business to follow me far away to Nanzhao, I said with a smile. Elder brother was slightly disappointed. On the 8th day after Chen Rong married over, I had to leave the capital. I couldn't delay any longer. Elder brother and sister-in-law saw me off. At the 30-li marker, the crown prince was waiting by the roadside. I got out of the carriage and exchanged greetings with him. When you came, it was I who accompanied you the whole way, he said, from Nanzhao to the capital, 2 months' journey. I travelled with him, and through what happened on the road, I knew he had developed feelings. Now going back, you'll be alone. I feel uneasy. I'll see you off to the ferry. The crown prince said there were still 100 li to go before we could switch to the water route. On our way here, we spent over a month on the boat, facing each other day and night. When he played chess, he deliberately touched my fingers, and I felt a tingle from my fingertips to my heart. His expression was also dazed, so I knew he felt the same way. Your Highness, there is no banquet that doesn't end. We must part eventually. Whether we part here or at the ferry makes no difference, I said. The crown prince was stunned for a moment. You are truly heartless, Shen Yun, he said. Before I could answer, he stepped forward and hugged me fiercely. My brother, sister-in-law, and all the attendants turned their faces away, with tremendous force as if to squeeze me to breaking. This was the most intense moment of my love. I spent my life guarding Nanzhao and never returned to the capital. The entire Shen family was loyal and righteous, including the daughter. Before master died, he chose a husband for me. We treated each other with respect, governed Nanzhao together, and had 2 children. The crown prince ascended the throne, implemented benevolent policies, lowered taxes, and didn't wage wars. Those were 30 years of good times. My brother and sister-in-law came to Nanzhao to see me every few years. Chen Mao also came once. Seeing that I was married, he left disappointed. Lady Jiangsun died of illness. Changsun Tao fell off his horse and is now paralyzed in bed. Truly evil deeds bring their own retribution. He is incredibly unlucky. His cousin, for the sake of her future, became a concubine to the 50-year-old Marquise Wan, and was beaten to death by Madame Wan. She brought it upon herself. These matters were all told to me by my sister-in-law, Chen Rong. Listening to them, it felt as if they were events from a past life. The new emperor and I never met again. The best person is always the one in memory. Going to the capital to treat the empress, the broken engagement, it all seemed like a dream to me. This was a wonderful episode in my life, and also the most earth-shattering chapter of my past. It was truly interesting,